I'll just listen in.
Later, we're on the air.
We're on the air. We're on the air. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Number 232. Do 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 do.
Should I play the theme song?
In a moment. Yeah, so how was your guys' Halloween?
I didn't do shit because I'm old as fuck and I live out in the country where people do not come and knock on my door.
I tried to pawn off a dead koala on people. Didn't exactly work, but...
I bought a coffin.
Ooh, really? What's on it?
A couple things. The better question is, what's in it?
Uh-oh. Gunner, you haven't broken any laws now, have you?
It's fine. It's for TNA. Let's maybe get this thing going.
All right, hit the theme song. Hit the theme song. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 232 of the Smark Snark podcast. My name is Gunner. I'd like to thank podcasting.com for our theme tonight. You can check us out online. You can call into the show, 812-408-9666 or 812-408. Woo! SRS Podcast is our Skype name. You can call them that as well. Twitter.com/Smark Snark, Facebook.com/Smark Snark, Patreon.com/Smark Snark. My name's Gunner, and that's Omega BR.
Time to put up the Christmas tree before Billy Corgan repos it.
No. No God, no why. Please God, no why. Feast or Fire matches incoming. Only everyone's going to get fired. Also joining us this week is our wonderful technical producer, Mr. Yankum DDS.
Nope, we're fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. How are you?
Better than you were last week with that hot load in your eye. Just saying. Also joining us is Vassar.
I'm hating Blender right now, but go on.
And WFC Masters.
The Cubs did it! They fucking did it!
The boyhood dream!
They fucking did it. I've been crying for the last 24 hours straight. I can't believe they did it.
I can't believe they did it either.
The Cubs didn't win. The Indians lost.
Oof.
Hey, them's fighting words.
So WFC, not to make you jealous or anything, but I have a buddy from when I was doing wrestling. He lives down in Florida. He's a big Cubbies fan. He went to the game last night. First off, he got an autograph from Bill Murray.
No fucking way.
And he got his picture in the Chicago Tribune.
That's amazing,
isn't it?
Not tonight. Last night was a roller coaster.
I understand. I understand that this is a wrestling podcast, but if you want some real emotion and you want some good drama and some good baseball, that game last night was just perfect. You couldn't have written it better.
108 years, 10 innings, 8 runs. Illuminati confirmed.
All right, now we're done marking over the Cubs. By the way,
Yep.
Triple H on Twitter presented the Cubbies with a belt, and they're going to send it to them. So there's that.
You could
But,
you could have posted the picture in our chat for the fine Patreon subscribers
Oh, I shall
who
do
get
that.
access to our video version of the podcast.
I will
So
do that.
I wonder if he has a drawer in his desk in his office that's just filled with side plates of the teams that didn't make it.
I'm
I
pretty
wonder if they
You know what
sure.
I mean?
Okay, so here's my question, right? And this is what I want. And this is what I want to know. Did they have a Cleveland Indians one ready? And was it of the smiling Indian?
They would have had the Cleveland plate, and it would have been the C logo that they are currently using. Just like right now, somewhere, probably in Cleveland or wherever they make the stuff, even they're shipping off a fuckload of Cleveland Indian 2016 World Champion shirts to a bunch of kids in like Africa and like fuck
Isn't
India
that?
and shit.
I think they should send it to orphans in India, don't you think?
Well, I'm sure they do that too.
Oh,
You would think.
I'm just
That's
saying,
bad.
well, I mean, you get a bunch of African kids wearing Indian, it might start a war over there.
I bet
Jesus
Punk
Christ.
is kicking himself that he never got that belt. Like he's like, fuck, I should have thought of that.
You know what? You know where it really ends up? Where those side blades end up? I bet you anything, Great Power Udi buys them on clearance and then puts them on his like a giant belt thing. Don't get me wrong. I love the Great Power Udi, but all right, here we go.
Here,
TNA time.
Oh, go ahead.
TNA time. Chancellor Ellen Hobbs Lyle ruled against Billy Corgan's request for a temporary injunction against TNA on Monday that would have prevented the company from business as usual, including a sale. Corgan's provision to acquire Dixie Carter's 92.5% voting rights if he was not paid back in time was ruled unenforceable. TNA was ordered to pay him back by Tuesday the 1st, but as of Thursday, Corgan says he hasn't been paid back and is continuing with his lawsuit, possibly turning the debt into 36% company stake. Anthem announced a credit relationship with TNA that essentially gives them control, keeping Dixie as a figurehead. In other bad news, Challenge in the UK announced that they would drop TNA in January, leaving Sony 6 in India as their biggest revenue source. So they're going to switch networks in the UK, which is a big deal for them because they don't really have anything that they can do about that. I'm very nervous for TNA right now because the worst possible thing is happening.
And that
Just
they're
me, or-
continuing on their existence.
Continuing on with Dixie as the quote unquote runner of the business.
I mean, this company just won't die.
Well, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. As long as, I was going to say, as long as wrestlers are able to get work and be paid for it. But, God, that doesn't even apply, does it?
It doesn't at all.
If they're already like not being able to pay Corgan, even though they're court ordered to, what makes you think they're going to be able to pay their talent? Even with the backing from the new investors.
That was the joke.
They can't pay they can't pay their merchandise guy too, apparently, who designs all their merch. He's whatchamacallit? He's suing for $43,000 as well. Which is just, excellent. Just more TNA debtors coming out of nowhere. I'm sure Bubba the Love Sponge is going to try to collect a check too, and the Nasty Boys.
Hello, my name is Rick. I'm calling.
Hello, Rick.
that I don't.
What?
It's fine. It's fine. The PWI
Everything is
50
fine.
top women. The PWI 50 top women. Nothing happened was leaked this week, putting Charlotte as their number one, followed by Sasha Banks, Asuka, Becky Lynch, and Bayley to round out the top 5. That doesn't surprise me a whole lot. If I was going to make a top 5, I mean, not necessarily in that order, but maybe not Charlotte. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's about right, I think.
The next non-WWE person on the list is at number 6, and that would be Jade. And I think Madison Eagles got in the top 10 as well.
I've got
Asuka's
Mickey
at
Knuckles
number
at number 7.
Amber Gallows, by the way, is number 35. As in Luke Gallows' sexy-ass wife. All right, moving on. Let's see here. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, here's the latest of the new WWE 205 live show. The announcement for the show was in response to a fan survey, which asked fans about a weekly live cruiserweight show. The cruiserweight wrestlers will continue to work Monday nights on Raw and shoot angles on Tuesday's show. Cruiserweight talents will also be working NXT weekend tours so that everyone's getting enough dates. WWE has been using Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Ariad Daivari for the division, but at this time they aren't signed and they haven't been advertised for the show. So if you guys haven't heard, WWE 205 Live is a brand new show that's coming to the WWE Network that is going to be filmed live after SmackDown ends to make it a 3-hour show, and then Talking Smack gets pushed back to the 11 o'clock hour. How do we feel about this?
We don't need another 3-hour show.
Both good and bad. The good part is that Morrow and Graves are going to be calling that show, and that is going to be absolutely amazing.
Oh my god, I can't wait for that. That is going to be the best.
That
best.
makes me happy, but it annoys me because it's like, yeah, another hour of wrestling on top of the 3-hour SmackDown, 2 hours, or 3-hour SmackDown, 2-hour SmackDown, 3-hour Raw, Talking Smack. Now there's Talking Raw, which is a terrible, terrible name for a show, but whatever. And add NXT, and then there's a pay-per-view weekend. It's really the biggest concern I have is that how is this show going to tie in with the with Raw? Like, are they?
I'm thinking that they're going to have a feature showcased match on Raw. Because, I mean, you can tell, obviously, somebody else is doing the cruiserweight segments other than the Raw Riders. I mean, is that just me, or am I the only one paying attention and noticing that the Raw segments are very much different from the cruiserweight?
Like, the biggest thing that I'm worried about is this is going to separate cruiserweights from like what Raw is in general, because you can tell like I hate to really say it, but the cruiserweight division is just filler on Raw at this point. Like, I love those guys, I love that division, but they're not doing much with it. And this show,
the cruiserweight division right now is what the Divas division was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
God, please. I'm happy that they're getting their own show, but why can't it be on Wednesdays again?
Exactly. That was my question. Why isn't it NXT and then cruiserweight show? I mean, obviously, the monetary concern really is what you come to think of there. Because I mean, if you record it directly after SmackDown, then you're gonna have the 3-hour show, you're gonna have the giant audience, and you're gonna have people quote unquote caring about this. But I guarantee you that most of them are going to leave after SmackDown ends.
Yep.
And so what are you going to do? You can't even pop them with like a go home show segment until it's 11 o'clock. I mean, I watch SmackDown for 2 hours. I'm okay with watching SmackDown for 2 hours. I just don't understand why it has to air the same night. Why it has to be live. But whatever.
It's just giving me more excuses to skip out on Raw at this point. Cause
Exactly.
Kinda, yeah, and it just continues the oversaturation that's going on right now. I never thought I would say the words "there is too much wrestling," but there is too much wrestling. Just it's too much. I can't. There's no way I can watch it all. One, I don't have the time, and two, if I watched that much wrestling, I would probably start to hate wrestling.
And when I did watch that much wrestling, I did hate wrestling. And I can confirm that. That's the worst part about this. All right, moving on. TNA, which title match are you looking forward most tonight? Had on hashtag Impact on Pop. Joey Styles, TNA ownership on a pole match.
I saw that. What a fucking burn. Someone get them a giant tube of ointment. They're going to need it.
Undertaker is going to be appearing at the Mohegan Sun Air Arena in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania for the 900th episode of SmackDown on November 15th.
This is fantastic news. I can't wait to see Taker again.
So did you guys hear who Taker's going to be feuding with?
AJ.
Who?
Randy.
It's Randy.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
They're trying to build a Taker Randy Orton match for WrestleMania.
Is he going to be part of the what fam the whole time?
Didn't we have that already? I feel like we've had that.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, when Randy Orton was the Legend Killer.
WrestleMania 21, to be specific, the Legend Killer versus the Streak.
That's right.
It was a great
that's the
match.
one that got away from them.
Right.
But can Randy carry Taker through the match?
Yeah,
right
he
now?
can.
Of course.
Yeah, the safest. He would be the safest person to work with right now.
Could
Well,
he carry
I'm not
him
just
to a
talking
good
about-
match? Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Can he carry him to a good match?
Sure,
Or
but is anyone going to
even more
care?
to a
I'll
great
care.
match? I mean,
I don't. I mean,
I
I like
to.
both of those guys, but
Okay.
I just
Right.
it's 5 years too late
Yep.
for doing this again.
Yep. I just wish that it was Taker and Cena, not Taker and Orton. But
I don't ever want it to be Taker and Cena, not even once.
Oh, I do. Like it's gonna be a great match, I guarantee you.
So not once in a lifetime.
Yeah, not
Does that mean
once.
you had twice in a lifetime?
Nope. I've already seen twice in a lifetime, and let me tell you, I was severely disappointed.
Hey, you want to talk about once in a lifetime? How about the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series?
I'm fine
I don't
with
even
that.
like.
I don't
I don't even
care.
like baseball, and I'm stoked for that. Like, fucking A for them, because where I live, it's a bunch of fucking St. Louis fans, and I'm like, no. There's no baseball team in Indiana, so down
Right.
here everyone is a Cardinals fan, and I'm just like, ugh, no, that's terrible.
ACH and ROH have evidently come to a verbal agreement on a mutual release, although as of this show, it was not signed nor official, but it's likely towards the end of the week it'll happen. So ACH and ROH parting ways.
Ooh, I'm a huge fan of ACH. I think he's great. So I hope this means he's going somewhere.
Maybe to the Fed or NJP. I'm hoping to the Fed, perfectly honest.
I'm kind of hoping New Japan. Fed's already starting to not use their cruiserweight guys so great, although I see that 205 whatever thing. But still, until they can prove to me that they can use a bunch of cruiserweights well, he's just going to end up like Cedric Alexander is, where he's winning a couple matches and he's like, people are excited to see him, but he doesn't do anything. And that would be sad because he's wildly entertaining.
God, imagine
I think-
them booking him as another Apollo Crews.
The smiling black guy that never gets over any farther than the lower mid card.
Yes.
I think the problem with the cruiserweights is that they kind of pulled the trigger on that too early. Now they have all this, and they don't know what the fuck to do with it.
They didn't realize how popular it was going to be.
Well, what's funny is they're using Gulak and Nice and Davari. I heard you guys talking about that before I hopped on, but they're not signed. Why would you not have 3 easy heels signed? Like, there aren't any other heels in the division aside from Kendrick. Just seems weird.
I don't know,
It's
but we'll see. They're doing a show-to-show thing like Ellsworth was for a second there. And for those of us who are into Joshi, Kairi Hojo is likely leaving WWE with Iro Shirai. I think I got those right. So, yeah.
Okay.
Omega might be excited about this. Question mark. Omega.
I mean, I guess so. It's kind of like, well, you know, it's always kind of a question because you know they're popular where they're at, but at the same time, your career can only last so long, and but you know, there's that idea that if you go to WWE, NXT, then you kind of get, you know, you're not really in control of your own destiny. You could get popular or possibly maybe not. So, you know, it's kind of a roll of the dice, you know, it's not quite, plus the money factor. I mean, not that money is a big deal over there necessarily, but anyway.
Right. I was just checking to see if there was anything terribly special that we should be watching out for. I am not familiar with either of the. I'm familiar with the names, but I'm not familiar with the matches.
Well, you know, Shirai used to be part of the Thunder Sisters with her sister Mio, and with Kana as well, or Asuka as part of Triple Tails. And then Hojo's one of the bigger acts at the. I haven't been keeping up with it quite as much as I used to, but Hojo's one of the bigger acts in Stardom right now, I believe. So it's kind of a matter of, you know, just WWE picking up bigger names, kind of like they did with Asuka, and seeing what sticks.
Right. Okay, and let's move on here. We're done with the news for the week. I think we got everything, unless I'm missing something big. Question mark. No. All right, 15-minute time limit. Ring that bell. Let's whip through this. It's our 15-minute time limit, and we're going to talk about Hell in the Cell. Let's start with the Cruiserweight Championship. Brian Kendrick defeated TJ Perkins. No, wrong one. No, wait. We had a Cruiserweight. Never mind.
Nobody cares
US
about the pre-show.
All right, I was gonna say maybe we should talk about the pre-show. Never mind. U.S. Championship, Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns defeated Rusev by pinfall to retain the title.
I'm fine with this. As long as he has that U.S. title, he's not anywhere near the Universal Championship.
I was talking about the match itself.
Oh, well, I mean...
the match existed. It wasn't terrible, but...
It wasn't good either.
Like, guys were...
No one got hurt. No one got injured.
No. But these guys were,
so it's automatically better.
Trying to put on... They were trying to put on a show, and the crowd just wasn't having much of it. Like, they were legitimately actually trying to wrestle, but the crowd didn't feel much. I didn't feel much.
The crowd's already seen them go at it about a dozen times in the past, and they just don't care anymore.
Is it just me, or was this crowd kind of shit?
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, just in general.
I mean, what did they have to cheer about, though? You know?
Right. Not like, what you would call it, Greensboro, South Carolina, or Corpus Christi, Texas. Bad. But, you know, definitely an off night for Boston.
Did you just say Corpse Crispy?
Corpus Christi, Texas.
Cocoa Crispy.
You said that weird. You said it Corpse Christi.
Okay.
Well, this was the standard.
I was gonna say it's accurate.
The base cell match, you know, where nothing special happened. They did pretty much every spot you would expect. They used the stairs. They did the accolade on top of the stairs, which, you know, God knows they're always going to do that, even though it looks stupid. They brought out the kendo stick. The one notable thing I remember them doing was Rusev got the chain, and he used the chain in the Accolade, which kind of looked neat, but at the same time, people just don't buy that Reigns is going to lose. I mean, that's kind of a big problem, which I think Meltzer kind of brought up, and it's kind of the same deal with people like Cena or even Asuka in NXT at the moment. But it's made worse when Reigns just is so god awful at selling. I mean, that's the biggest thing to me. And I'm not talking about kicking out of a pin. I'm talking about he's hung up in the ropes, like he that spot where they tie his arms in the ropes, and then Reigns hits him 10 times with a kendo stick, or excuse me, Rusev hits him, and then Rusev kind of walks away and then turns around, and then all of a sudden Roman gets out of the ropes and like clotheslines him, and he's like, why didn't you do that 10 minutes ago when you were getting hit with the stick?
Exactly. And it's like, okay, from a worker's perspective, let's put it this way, that spot where you get yourself tied up in the ropes, that's, you're not actually kind of stuck. You're just tied up, and it makes it look like you're stuck. It's a very easy way to get out of it, that you could do yourself. The problem becomes is that he worked it like a worker, like where he was just performing for workers. So like in class, what would happen would be, you do that, you'd fire up, and then bam, Roman Reigns no selling 2016. But doing that in like an actual match in front of people, no.
Doing that in a Hell in a Cell match where they were so violent and using all this stuff, especially, really stuck out as like, Christ's sakes, dude, sell something.
Exactly.
Let's move on. We've only got 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
True.
All right. Bailey defeated Dana Brooke via pinfall.
I liked it.
It was
this match is
it was a pretty bad match, but at least it had the right finish.
Bailey carried Dana.
Well, no shit.
to a 1.75 match.
That thickness.
Yeah.
There was
But
way
it's
too much
interesting.
thickness in that match.
It's interesting seeing them using the kinesio tape more to like show that somebody has like a past injury for them to sell from like the last week.
Oh my god, that's just like a target. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing that the kinesio tape is just this thing that people think that is actually working for them. And sure, it might, and I'm perfectly fine with it working for them. But I swear to God, if you're not picking apart that that body part the entirety of a match, then why are you not trying to please Jim Cornette?
Well, you can use it, like,
That gimmick
really.
has been around forever, though. I mean,
I was about to say the same thing.
It's a new era of tape.
it's a new way
Yeah,
to do it instead of
it's
having like
kinesi-
bandages or
yeah,
something.
It's that stupid tape now. Before it was, the ribs are wrapped or the leg or whatever.
Right, exactly. And if you're not trying to sell that or you're not trying to work on that, you're stupid. I mean, that's free storytelling right there. Speaking of things that are insanely stupid, I'm surprised that Carl Anderson got the pin against Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Why is that a surprise? Or
because the next night on Raw they got jobbed out again in a pumpkin
goofy match. In a goofy match with a bunch of geeks.
So, like, the reality of it is that Monday match. After that match on Monday, I completely forgot about the pay-per-view match. I know that it happened. I know Carl got the pin, but it might as well mean nothing. Might as well have not fucking happened, because the very next night they go out there and they do some wacky shit, and it's impossible to take them seriously.
We really are back to the point on both brands, by the way. Back to the point of the tag division not mattering unless you're in the title hunt. And even if you're in the title hunt, then it's like, whatever. Because they do the title match and then somebody gets disqualified or something and then they drag it out for another month.
Dare I say that it's pretty stale right now?
Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do with it.
It's accurate.
Well,
it's doubly frustrating because, like, I haven't seen Heath and Rhino do jack ever since they've won their titles.
Exactly.
They're just existing.
See, the thing is,
And
it's
you know
clear.
what?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's like, well, what else are you gonna do with them now? Not that they've won their titles. Like, I'm glad for Heath, I really am. But where do you go from here? And no one is even like feuding with them really for the titles. Like, you
See,
think this
that's
would be a great time for this to happen, but no, it's not. No one's even
All
paying
right.
attention.
that's the
Where-
issue, though, is because they're building all this shit for Mania, and they've got nothing in between because they have no tag team.
All right, 7 minutes.
Well, they write themselves into not a corner, but more of a U-turn again, because it's Survivor Series, which means you got to do Raw versus SmackDown, which means you got to do it for every division, which means, who cares what's going on in the title picture, because your champions have to be in the big 20-person match that people are going to get eliminated every 5 minutes in.
Mm-hmm. Oh God! Hopefully it's shorter than that. Speaking of things that we hope are shorter. No, wait, that's a terrible segue because this was kind of a fun match. Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins via pinfall to retain the title via shenanigans of Jericho. Copyright.
This was if the first cell match was your base match, this was your kind of goofy shenanigan match, which normally I would be against, but considering they had a third match that was meant to be the big classic memorable cell match, I was okay with it. I think it fits the storyline really well, and you could tell they were really trying to put on a show here.
I enjoyed it. I thought that it was a decent match, but whatchamacallit, I'm very sad to see the best friends breaking up.
I don't think they're breaking up. Did I miss a lot of Raw? Did I miss something important?
No.
Well, it'll happen eventually, but
well, I mean, they're eventually going to break up. And
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait, before we move on, I just got to say, for Mick Foley to come out here and bitch and moan about the sanctity of Hell in a Cell after Jericho interfered, the very fucking first Hell in a Cell, Kane rips off the door and tombstones The Undertaker. Fuck off.
Yep. Cruiserweight Championship, Brian Kendrick defeated TJ Perkins via submission to win the title. What a match.
What a geek.
What a match.
What
really
a terrible
Where was it
match.
I liked it.
Liked it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
I liked it. I thought it was a good match, and I thought the ending was exactly the kind of stupid chicken shit heel shenanigans that you should expect from somebody like the Brian Kendrick.
I hated this though. I did not like that because, as Meltz rightfully pointed out, when you make your babyface look like an idiot, you're making him look like an idiot. When you pull a trick on him that everyone but the babyface understands, it's not making him look any stronger. It's just making
no, because
not making your heel any stronger.
No, in the even in the replay, it looked like he landed weird on that ankle. Did you not see that it
lasted too long? Here's my point. Here's what I'm thinking. It lasted too long.
It definitely lasted too long. If the ref had turned and went and threw up the X for the people to come down and take him away on a stretcher, and then he turned around and he had TJ in a small package, that would have been much better.
Yes.
I think it would have been a lot better, too, if he just pinned him instead of clearly making him submit, and it wasn't even that much of a fuck finish at the end.
Right, and all of that time he spent, all that time he spent, just standing and resting and looking perfectly fine, he immediately gets into the submission, and it's over. GG. I mean,
yep.
What?
Cesaro and Sheamus defeat the New Day via disqualification. Fuckaroo. I'm glad they're retaining because I want them to get that record. They're gonna get that record. I can't imagine WWE possibly taking that off of them before they hit that record. But Jesus Christ, like this? Not like this!
It seems like the only way they can lose is in non-title matches and by DQs during title matches.
Yep, and they're just going to do that until December. So
one more month.
Roadblock will be the pay-per-view that it switches.
Sounds good.
Cesaro
Women's Championship.
All right, and Cesaro. I was going to say Cesaro and Sheamus should be really mad right now at Mick Foley. Really, really mad at Mick Foley right now.
Yeah, I can see that. Charlotte defeated Sasha Banks to win the title. I'm going to come out of the gate saying that I was really fucking pissed when this match started. Well, actually, before the match started, because I thought that maybe the match wasn't going to start. Like maybe they had chickened out at the last minute and they were going to have Charlotte beat Sasha down. She couldn't compete, and then there was going to be no title match. And I was livid.
This match, if it went off without a hitch, I think would have been a 4-star match. However, it didn't. And that's the problem that we have with this. And that's what I've come to find with some of the women's matches. It's the fact that you know what they're going to try to do, and you know what they want, and then you know what they want to do, but they just didn't execute the way that they should have.
If I can go for the rest of my life without having to see Sasha bump on her neck, I will be happy, but I know that's never going to happen.
Yeah,
oh my god.
That stair spot.
There's like 3 times where she landed directly on her head.
Yeah. The stretcher spot at the beginning of the match, or before the match, was a huge mistake.
Yes.
It went on way too long.
Yes.
It looked ridiculous to see.
She should have fought
Sasha,
the doctors off while they were trying to put her on the stretcher instead of actually going along with it.
As soon as Charlotte went in the cell, she should have fought them off and got in and started the thing. Not wait till the announcement that is about to happen. Not wait till and miraculously rip her, neck thing off. Remember how to walk. Tell the ref she's fine. The ref does a 180 and decides she's okay to do a cell match. It completely looked ridiculous. It sucked all the energy.
Literally without thought, too. The ref just turns around and goes, "Hey, you're fine. You're fine. Let's do this." And before they're spending 5 minutes to stretch her out. What the fuck?
So, okay, do we all understand what they were trying to do there?
That's it.
Yeah, we understand.
Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
I'd like to spend another minute on this, though, because it was supposed to be such a big deal. And like Gunnar said, for this to really...
I'll give us 5.
For this to really be... I knew it wasn't going to live up to the hype. I mean, let's be honest. But if it was supposed to be a 4-star match, it ended up being maybe 2.5.
2.5.
2 and 3/4.
I thought
Phelps
it was
gave it 2 3/4.
I thought it was like a 3.5. It wasn't on par with some of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever, but it definitely was better than some of the worst Hell in a Cell matches.
Yes.
Like that. What's the one? It was Michaels and Taker in the cell. I think it was that was fucking awful.
How about Bray Wyatt interfering in the Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose match?
Yeah.
Anything involving Ryback.
The thing is,
God.
If you're gonna, like Sasha Banks once, she did an interview this past week where she said, "I wanted to get to the point where it's not a great women's match, it's a great match." And if we judge the match based on that criteria, great women's match, but based on that criteria, not very good. Maybe good.
Exactly.
It's
great.
Gonna take time.
There were
It's gonna take time.
The two major problems with this match, man. We already talked about the first one, the beginning. The second problem was the ending, the finish. They do all of this shit, and she throws her into a table a couple of times, and it hits the blockbuster or whatever that stupid Hail of the Queen.
Natural selection.
Yeah. What the fuck? That's not how you end a Hell in a Cell is supposed to be. Why did they not put her through the table? I would have been fine with
Well,
it.
the speculation is she doesn't weigh enough to make her go through.
No,
they would have
Charlotte barely fell on a table and broke one. So
They probably gimmicked those tables a little extra for the women's matches.
Well, here's the thing: they didn't. If they did, then that would have crumbled. That would have crumbled when she went through it the first time. Somebody argued, and that I understood. They thought it looked more vicious because she bounced off the table a couple of times. I'm going to tell you that I want you guys to go back and watch that match again. Look at the angle. The angle is incorrect. You are not going to fall through a table when that table is at the angle that it was. Second, Sasha does not weigh enough. If they actually went through with the superplex spot that they had before that, and Charlotte's big butt didn't actually go through the table, you would definitely have seen Sasha go through the table by herself, and that would have been fine, and I would have been okay with that. Everybody would have cringed some more because of the bumps that Sasha took tonight, which, by the way, did you notice that Sasha was the spot monkey tonight, and Charlotte was like, nah, bro, I don't want to take that bump. My back hurts.
Yeah. Sasha going headfirst into the Hell in a Cell wall, her taking the bump off the table, getting thrown into everything.
It seemed to me to a very small extent that if it was just a little more deliberate, I would say that she was being avoidant of taking bigger bumps and being afraid of actually wrestling.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, I hope not.
Ric Flair appeared on, I think it was Busted Open, and said, he claims anyway, that they cut 2 spots out of the match, in the middle of the match, because they were afraid they were going to get hurt. And one of the spots, he didn't say what they were, but he said one of the spots was a moonsault. So you can guess it was probably Charlotte doing a moonsault from the top.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Through a table.
And,
through the table, which would have been nice.
Yeah, but again, I can see why they cut them, because it's not like this was a bad match, but all of the kind of spots that you would expect out of a Cell match, they did them, and they didn't do them badly, but they didn't do them really well. It was like they weren't good, but they weren't bad either. It's like for example, when Charlotte, when they had the table and Sasha's on the outside and Charlotte shoves the table into Sasha's chest, it didn't look bad, but you could tell that it didn't look like she didn't fully connect with it. It didn't really,
All right, let me take the last 30 seconds here. I'm going to rant a little bit. So here's the problem with these matches, and I understand that Sasha Banks would like to actually like to have these matches be decent and be judged on the same par as men's. However, the problem is that the girls are smaller, and if the girls are smaller, then your matches have to accommodate spots for that. That table could have broken otherwise. So my point is this. We haven't had enough women's hardcore matches. Yes, I understand. This is the end of the sentence. We haven't had enough women's hardcore matches to be able to see what it would take to make the equivalent spots in the men's matches actually decent, which is why you saw the awkward spots of the women trying to do men's spots not working out the way that they wanted to. And I think that was the biggest problem with this match.
All right, I'm hungry.
All right, let's do some Dairy Queen drive-thru.
Dairy Queen drive-thru. Dairy Queen Dairy Queen drive-thru.
And the man who orders only 2 bananas, just bananas, at Dairy Queen, Vassar.
I'm not going to answer that, but it is time for the ratings. Starting off as TNA Impact with 362,000 viewers compared to the 353,000 last week. On to SmackDown, it averaged 2.187 million viewers. This is up slightly from last week's show, which drew 2.127 million. And finally on to Raw, which drew 2.6 million viewers, down from last week's 2.81 million. And that is all for the ratings.
Let's do WFC Masters with the birthdays today.
Oh boy, birthdays. I love those. All right. For the week of 11/3/2016, celebrating their birthday on 3rd, we have Ariane Andrew / Cameron, La Sombra, Dawn Marie, and Pedro Morales. On the 4th, we have Naruki Doi and Ryan Nemeth, Briley Pierce. On the 6th, Brutus Magnus. On the 7th, celebrating their birthday, King Kong Bundy and Joey Magnum Ryan. On the 8th, Ted DiBiase Jr., and Maximo. And on the 9th, Lionheart Chris, insert one of many memes he's made over the past year, Jericho, and Nick Patrick. And that is all for this weekend. Happy birthday.
Chris the List Jericho.
Chris, drink it in, man.
Chris
Jericho.
Jericho.
And now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega BR.
Yes, this weekend, wrestling history, circa 1939, where Steve Casey defeats Ed Don George for the American Wrestling Association World Heavyweight title in Buffalo, New York, ending George's third and final reign with the belt and starting Casey's third reign. Jump to 1998, where Jesse the Body Ventura, running as an independent candidate on the Reform Party ticket, defeats Democrat Hubert Humphrey III, Republican Norm Coleman, to become the governor of Minnesota. Ventura, who would later change his nickname to The Mind, made headlines nationwide with the victory, telling supporters, "We shocked the world." And in 1998, during a Raw taping at Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas, Mankind makes the first defense of the WWF Hardcore title by pitting Ken Shamrock on the rampway after help from Vince McMahon, Big Boss Man Gerald Briscoe, and Pat Patterson. Also on the taping, William Regal defeated Golga of the Oddities and unmasked him during the match, revealing John Tenta. However, the unmasking was accidental, so it never actually aired on the show. And of course, in 2007, the world lost a wrestling legend in the fabulous Moolah, who passed away at 84 years old. Best remembered for the longest-running championship reign, publicized as 28 years, although in truth, there were back-and-forth switches during the reign of any champion ever in professional wrestling history. And that was this weekend in wrestling history.
Happy trails. Happy trails to Austin Aries, who must undergo surgery to repair a large orbital fracture suffered after a kick from Shinsuke Nakamura, and that'll put him out until early 2017.
Fuck!
It's fine. That's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, just as long as he comes back. And by the time he comes back, NXT will be a little less bloated, so he might actually get a title shot. Happy trails to Edge and Beth Phoenix, who were married this past week.
I didn't even know. I had no idea.
They've been together for a few years.
How did I not know? Maybe I knew and forgot.
We told you.
They have kids and stuff. I probably just forgot. It's hard to keep track of who's stripping who.
And happy trails to AJ Styles, who was caught trying to break into his own rental car outside of SmackDown Live this week. Apparently, the Newark Fire Department came and unlocked the car for him. Rip.
The photo of him trying to get into his car with a coat hanger with a crowd standing around him was just too amazing.
Right, and what should we watch this week in wrestling? Let's make these quick. Let's see here. Vassar, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
I'm just going to go with AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose because, oh my god, that on SmackDown was hilarious and amazing.
Save us, dog. What should we watch this week in wrestling?
You should watch, since we're coming up on the election, and we just mentioned the governor himself, Jesse Ventura. You should watch the all-time greatest campaign ad. Just look up Jesse Ventura ad or Northwoods Advertising action figure. I still remember that from when I was a kid, and I swear to God, those ads won him that raise. They're great.
WC Masters, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
If we're going political, then I definitely have to recommend Donald Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell. Enjoy.
God damn it.
Enjoy the greatest match ever.
One of the few times they got a TNA chant in a WWE arena.
Yes. Oh, God.
Yank of DDS, which we watched this week for wrestling.
Since we mentioned it earlier, how about The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood 1997, the Hell in a Cell match?
The debut of Kane. I think Bad Blood was actually around this time of year, I think. I could be wrong. But I think that is we're right around the anniversary of Kane.
I wish they'd bring back In Your House.
Well, I mean, In Your House is now NXT TakeOver, if you think about it. Omega BR, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
I'm going to suggest the women's cell match because we gave it a lot of grief, but honestly, I would not call it a bad match. And honestly, the women, you could tell they really tried hard to put on a performance. I blame most of the match's problems on the booking. They did what they could, and I mean, it wasn't a bad match. I don't think they'll be doing another women's main event for a while, but it's a precedent at least.
Yeah, well, I agree. It was a good match, and I think we could probably look for it to only get better from here.
I'm going to suggest the main event of Lucha Underground this week: Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. in a loser leaves Lucha match. I actually really enjoyed it. I was happy to watch that in West, and it was very satisfying when let's put it this way: there's interference by Dario Cueto, and it was enjoyable. So I was happy with that. All right, so that's it for this week. Thank you all for listening. This has been episode 232 of the Smark Snark podcast. Thank you once again to podcastthemes.com for the theme. You can call into the show at any time.
No.
That's right. Well, via Skype at this point. The number is going away for a small time, but it will be back at some point or another. SRS Podcasts on Skype. You can check us out there. Twitter.com/SmarkSnark, Facebook.com/SmarkSnark, Patreon.com/SmarkSnark, and that's it. So, for myself and for everybody else, thank you all very much for listening. Am I missing something?
I was just going to say, if people want to leave voicemail messages on the Skype, we will play them on the air and respond to them. We'd rather you come on the show live. If you want to join us in our Discord or Skype in during the show, both of those are fantastic. But if you just wanted to leave a voicemail because you're mad at something Gunner said or that NetJester even exists, feel free to do that, and we will play it on the air.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We wish you well in your past, present, and future endeavors.
Woo, woo, woo. Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong outro.
The Cubs!
They did it! My God! The boyhood dream!
Good night, Lincolnshire.